Remember, right is right, no matter who do it, as long as it's right. If it's wrong, whoever do it is still gonna be wrong. Just because of who you are doesn't make a thing um, right when it's wrong, and it doesn't make it wrong when it's right. That means that everybody should get what they didn't earn to this point, right? Good, bad, or indifferent, right? So, just so y'all know, it's always gonna be people that's gonna be adversarial to what we doing, no matter what you do. You could be fixing your tire and somebody somewhere is gonna complain about you fixing your tire. He shouldn't be fixing that tire on the side of the road. He shouldn't be sitting there without that flat tire. There's always somebody who want to point out that you too close to the road to change the tire. But they not going to help you change the fucking tire. They just going to bitch and complain about it. They going to just complain and complain and complain about you changing the fucking tire. And it could be holding up traffic. Whatever the case might be, they not going to get out and say, hey, you kind of close to the road. You think I can help you change that and use my car to block the traffic so we can get it done faster, get you out the road so we can get on our way? Ain't going to do that. But when right is right, you try to do the right thing for no other reason than just because it's right. So, which brings us to Larry Hoover. The statement came out and Larry Hoover denounced the gangster disciples. This ain't nothing new to no folks. We've been knowing this shit years. Same way you come in is the same way you gotta fucking come out. Our grid history teller in the public domain for the formerly known as gangster disciples is Don Dirt. He the one who was there. He was there with the King David, the king of all kings, and he was there with Larry Hoover. And just to show y'all that this ain't the first time, because it's for a purpose. This proves that Larry, any affiliation with the gangster disciples while he was locked up, was under duress. Right is right, wrong is wrong. If this man didn't want to be involved years ago, and he still don't want to be involved, he's still a man. And circumstances will drive you to do things that you have to do for the purpose of survival alone. I'm going to let y'all check out what Don Dirk say, because this is important.
Yeah, something like that. What happened was Larry Hoover was the king all the way up into 1971. Some issues happened, where this brother named Irvin Green took over the gangster organization. Hoover did go on the run for the charge that you just mentioned. And he was later caught, I believe, up in New York somewhere. I really don't have too much information about that. But what I do know is that he was no longer the king of the gangster nation. Irvin Green was, which Irvin Green lost his life in 1972. After that, Hoover went on to go to the penitentiary. We all met in Stateville Penitentiary. When we met in Stateville Penitentiary, some brothers tried to have him hit. You know, they put some lies out on him about some about King David supposed to told him that if he died, he was supposed to took over, which we know wasn't the truth to the matter. It was always a lot of he say and she say that got in the picture, you know, and causing a lot of confusion and deception. So anyway, I come into the sale house from the tailor shop. At that time, Larry Hoover was working in the book bindery, the matrix shop. So when I come in before him, that's when it was brought to my attention what was finna take place. And when I went to certain people to require up on it, and they told me, I told them, hell no. And the person that was supposed to took the hit out, I told him to stand down. Now, at that time, I wasn't the chief in Stateville. We had an honorable chief that was calling all shots, that respected me and my brother and knowing how close me and King Dave were. At this time, King Dave had just died, you know, so they finna pull it. So I'm telling everybody, no, that ain't true. He ain't never told nobody that. And he even was telling people that I didn't say that. I didn't tell nobody that. I didn't say David was supposed to make me the king. He said, I didn't say none of that. And then he also said, I'm not even the chief no more. I don't have nothing to do with that no more. And so I said, wait a minute. These brothers over here believe in you. You did. And when we asked them and they said, yeah, I said, then you still they king. Like that, you see. And I went against, you did, my branch, my people, and half of them on the street right now can verify anything I'm saying. And when I stood up for that brother, he became the king again over them. And that was in Stateville Penitentiary, D-House. We were finna go to war with each other about this man's rights.
So this tells you that from the beginning, Larry Hoover didn't have an interest in being the leader of the Gangster Disciples, but in order to preserve his life and to survive that hit, that he had to assume the position, basically. You're going to be the king whether you want to be the king or not. And at that point, anything that happened in relation to Larry Hoover in law, that's called the duress doctrine. Under the duress doctrine, if you are forced to commit a crime by force or threat of your life, then that is the exemption for the criminal behavior, because you have no other choice, because self-preservation is the first law of nature. Now, all of these groups, I don't care which one of them you pick, it could be the Christian church, it could be the Catholic church, it could be the street organizations, the bikers clubs, all these motherfuckers did dirt. But the problem is that the ones who's forced to do dirt is the ones that's suffering as a human being, because they are not in the position to clean up the dirt. So, Dirk told us Larry didn't want to be affiliated with this shit way back in 1972. Right? He wanted to go about his life, but he had two options. Try to survive this hit or wear this motherfucking crown. And this is why you see him now trying to tell him, look, I've been incommunicado for 25 years. If there's any activities going on with Gangster Disciples, it ain't coming from, none of the orders is coming from AdMax without the government knowing it. Right? So they tried to issue an indictment and say he was giving orders, but they couldn't prove it, and that got thrown out of the federal courts not too long ago. Because his only person can visit him sometimes is his personal attorney. Sometimes certain family members that's immediate family can come visit him. But from a human standpoint, and going back to what my mama told me, that Big Mama said, right is right, wrong is wrong. It's provable that part of COINTELPRO, which he's in their files, wanted Larry Hoover off the streets. That's provable. The official storyteller, Griot, history keeper of the Disciple Nation, Don Dirk, is sitting here telling y'all that the man was operating under duress from the beginning anyway. So when you look at his letter to the court and you look at what they say and they write, he can't get from under it until he try to get from under it. And as a man, he got grandkids. Larry probably got great grandkids that he's never been able to hug because they labeled all this criminal shit that every motherfucker and their mama screaming GD was doing as a direct product of Larry Hoover's presence. That's not fair to Larry Hoover. If you can explain how one man can be responsible for thousands of people when he's being held in a condition that he can't say nothing or do nothing about the condition, then make this shit make sense. Right is right, and wrong is wrong. It's okay for your president to be a pedophile, right? But when an organic leader in the community, a man that come up in the community, and the people want him to be their leader so bad that they threatening to kill him if he don't, right? That's how bad we need leaders in our community. Y'all want the leaders of the enemy so y'all can go along to get along as bootlicking, tap dancing, ass kissing, brown nosing slaves. Fuck them motherfuckers. They gonna have to let him out only because it's right. They don't have to let him out for any other reason other than the fact that it's right. I don't have to speak up with him on behalf of the gangster disciples or the growth and development. I'm speaking up for Larry Hoover the man. Because as a man, he's been held in injustice. So as the injustice stands, the same thing applies to Chief Malik Angel Bay. It's an injustice. Right is right and wrong is wrong. If injustice prevails, if you want to push injustice to be the prevailing law of the land, then say that shit. Say that shit, because we can let injustice be the prevailing law of the land if don't nobody want what's right. And then we could figure it out by what they call the law of the jungle. Might makes right. Whoever can kill the most motherfuckers the fastest can end up being the leader of the pack. That's the dumbest shit in the world to me. So, if it's a Stone, if it's a Vice Lord, if it's a Disciple, if it's a Crip, if it's a Blood, and they all been set up by this government to take the fall for what the government was doing, and you don't want to speak up for what's right only because it's right, you in the way. So the question is are you part of the problem or the part of the solution? The solution is let that man go as a man to be a free man, to walk the land. He need to be able to sit down at the dinner table with his wife and at family dinners. He need to be able to get up if he choose to and go to the health club and take a swim in the pool and lift weights if he choose to. If he choose to, as a man, he should be able to go in his backyard and take a piss right next to the garage because it's his shit. As a man, right? So when we talking about Free Larry Hoover, this ain't got nothing to do with being the leader of an organization. This got something to do with what's right. Anything that's right should be fought for. And if you're not willing to fight for what's right, then you might as well let it be known that you're fighting for what's wrong so that you can be moved out of the way. We know that ain't none of these motherfucking groups squeaky clean. From the motherfucking government to the underbellies of the society, ain't none of these motherfuckers crispy clean. You ain't gonna find one. You not gonna never find a motherfucker